Alex?
AJ, sometimes I allow myself to go to the addiction to feel how bad I feel. I just like your comment on that.
I don't feel there is any need to go into an addiction to feel how bad you feel. You know what would be the more powerful state? Is to actually not feed the addiction and feel how bad you feel. Because you'll definitely feel worse doing that than you will by feeding the addiction.
But often I find I go into an intellectual space.
Yep.
I'll be specific. I can walk down the street and say,
yep,
there's a girl over there, I really want to sexual project, but I'm not going to because that's wrong and blah, 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 blah.
Yep.
But if what I did when I was in Sydney was, I actually just said, stuff this, I'm just going down the beach and I spend half a day just openly allowing myself to sexually project. And it really overwhelmed me what a strong addiction this was for me.
Yes, and you also damaged your soul and the soul of the girls who you were projecting at.
Okay, but I felt at the time that it was, I guess I almost felt like it was necessary to go there because then I was able to feel the emotions beneath that.
I understand where you went with it, but what I'm stating is that you could actually just sit there and feel how much you want to sexually project.
Yeah.
And that would have taken you to exactly the same emotions without damaging your own soul or the soul of the girls you're projecting at.
Yeah. Okay.
Do you see the difference?
Yeah.
Yeah. See, a lot of times we go, oh, damn it, I'm just going to do it anyway. This is something that happens. By the way, can I point out to you that there's been murders because people have gone, oh, damn it, I'm just going to do it anyway. And there's been rapes because people have gone, oh, damn it, I'm just going to do it anyway. And there's been all sorts of violent, abusive and damaging acts perpetrated by people because they just give up or become so frustrated with their own addictions that they decide, oh, I'm just going to go ahead with it anyway, in a justification that, oh, it's the only way to deal with it. And I'm saying to you that it is not the way to deal with it. You will damage your soul. If you act upon your addictions, you are going to continue to support the facade and you're going to continue to damage your soul. So while now, Alex, you might have got into some emotions, you also now have the additional hurt that you've created to women and to your own soul to work your way through from a compensatory perspective. So can you really say that it's been beneficial for your soul? Can you see what I'm saying?
Yeah, obviously not. Yeah.
So the key thing is to go, okay, it's okay to have the feeling, right? When I say it's okay to have the feeling, you're going to have the feeling in order to work your way through it. So feel the feeling inside of yourself, how much you want to perv at the women down the beach, for example. And then ask yourself questions about it. Well, what am I getting out of it? What does it give me that I don't get if I don't do it? What do I feel? You know, you need to allow yourself to feel the feeling without actually projecting it or making the other person feel it. You see, when we sit there and project at the other person, we are now making them feel what's going on. And that is an act that is not loving, which will always damage our own soul and also potentially theirs. So I'm suggesting to you that if you take any action you take to the extreme, which is a very interesting way of sorting out whether something is loving. So for example, for this thing that you just raised, Alex, like sitting down on the beach and perving at a woman, that seems fairly innocent in comparison to what other people do. Most people down the beach, particularly most men, do that anyway. And so there's already a lot of justification that we're going to be fine doing that. But if we took that to the extreme of, you know, now if I felt like murdering, what would I do? Would I go and get involved in a murder in order to feel my feelings about it? If I felt like raping, would I go and rape somebody just so that I can feel my feelings about it? Well, obviously not. So if we wouldn't do that, then why would you do the lesser act in order to connect with the emotion? Can you see?
Specifically for that, because it feels lesser.
Well, that's the problem, is it feels lesser, but there's still the act of unloving act that's perpetrated towards the soul of another. And that is going to damage our own soul. So my suggestion, rather than doing that, is to feel the addictions fully, to really embrace them emotionally, and to feel how they powerfully affect your life, and then begin to feel at least what's underneath them. Like, why do I feel like I've got to look at all these women, and what do I get out of it? And what do I get out of projecting that at them? So it's one thing to look at all these women, but to do it in a real quiet manner where you're just looking at it and checking it out, but you're not actually, they wouldn't know you or even see you doing it. Then it's quite another one if I was looking at all these women and I was making sure every one of them felt it. Do you see? That's quite another thing, isn't it?
Yeah, no, I'm pretty sly. They don't see.
You think you're sly about it, do you, Alex?
Well, I have been anyway.
I think at times it's been both, hasn't it?
Yeah.
And there are different emotional reasons for each one. The sly one, there's a different emotional reason to the overt one. I'll put to you, the overt one is primarily to make the women feel smaller than you, to make the women feel like they're being abused, to make the women feel like they should be scared of you. So that's an act of power over them. The sly one might be different. Do you see what I'm saying? But the key is to feel it and to feel what you're doing without actually going ahead and doing something about it. Every time you act on an addiction, you further establish your facade, you do not release your damaged self, and you damage your soul further and potentially the soul of another further. So that's not appropriate. It's not an appropriate thing to do. But a lot of us do it because we sort of throw our hands up in the air and we go, stuff this, I'm just going to do it anyway. And what would that be called? Isn't that called anger? Can you see that? Isn't that called anger? When you do stuff this, I'm going to do it anyway. Isn't that anger? So anger is always letting me know that I'm still in my facade. So if we can do that and we can stop focusing on...
Can I just clear that up in my defence? Sorry, I don't do the overt one anymore.
It's all right, Alex.
No, I just feel publicly shamed.
We love you. It's a good question that you asked, and very valid for the majority of people, because the majority of people think with little things they should be able to get away with this and that, but they wouldn't do the same thing with a big thing. There's a very interesting verse in the Bible that says, "He that is faithful in least is also faithful in much." So in other words, if we have personal integrity in the smallest of things, we will also have personal integrity in the biggest of things.